Welcome to the Sensual Feminine Life podcast. I am your host, Jen Bagayski, where I will take you on a deep dive into your own life so that hidden, hurting parts of your soul can be healed. This is a podcast about love, sex, pleasure, and relationships. You will learn how to feel safe, to truly love and connect with your body. Surrender to the desires and hungers of your soul and step into the beautiful, sensual, feminine, sexy, and powerful woman you were created to be. I believe deeply in my soul that sexuality is the missing key in personal growth and development. It is time to toss away all of the nonsense you have been taught about these taboo topics and heal your relationship to your sexuality. You can eliminate shame and guilt, own your sexy confidence, feel incredible in your skin, embrace the depths of exquisite pleasure, and have the deeply connected relationships you truly desire. Grab your cozy socks, pour yourself a glass of wine, get comfy, and let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the Sensual Feminine Life podcast. And today we're going to be talking about female role models. And I really want you to think about who are the women that you admire in your life. And when I think about my experience as, a young girl, I can remember wishing that I had more female role models. Now, I'm sure all of us have our, moms and our grandmothers who have been wonderful examples to us in many, many different ways. But when I think about wanting a role model who owns her sexuality and embraces her feminine nature, I didn't have that. And I'm curious as to how many other women and girls didn't have those examples in their life on what does it really mean to be a woman. I really think that we as a society have, and I'll use the term dumbed down, but dumbed down what it really means to be a woman. We're so afraid of being objectified as women that we don't want to be known as sex objects. So we try to, in this feminist movement, move ourselves and compare ourselves to men, saying women can do all the things men can do. And while there is beauty in that, we need to make sure that we are not losing sight of what it means to be a woman, right? The woman part of who we are. Yes, we have brains. Absolutely. We are smart and we can provide value to this world. But there are components of us that we forget about or just have not been taught on how to step into our femininity as women. And I encourage you to really think about your role models, right? Whether did you have role models in the church, right? Everyone is with a different religion or different spiritual bringing, right? I was raised devout Catholic, and there were no women in power. There were no women in leadership roles.
right? There was Mother Mary, and she was the one woman in my personal experience that was revered. And she was revered and honored and worshiped because she was the mother of Jesus. And she was a virgin. And that really got me to think about, what did my church upbringing teach me about female role models? That it was honored and beautiful to be a virgin, to be the Virgin Mother. And this may trigger some folks, but I really want you to be open to what your religion or upbringing has taught you about feminine role models and sexuality. Did they talk about it? Did they not talk about it? Right? There are many, many different stories about Mary Magdalene as well, too. And these are not things that I was really taught growing up. There are a variety of different books out there. There are some other more educated Catholics who have talked about the beauty of Mary Magdalene. But that's not what I was taught, right? She was maybe the more promiscuous female role model that I should not model myself after. And in my personal background, church was the very foundation of everything for my family, right? So the saints and the deities in the church, right? That was what was important. So I didn't really have much exposure to female role models. I can actually remember I went to a friend's place for a small little women's circle, and she had little statues, a variety of different goddesses at her table. And I remember being freaked out about it because in my world, you only had one God, and that was God. There were no other gods. There were no female goddesses in the world where I came from. And I remember saying, can you please just put Mother Mary in front of me? Because I'm a little scared of these other goddess people who I don't know who they are. And she just smiled and understood. And I think back to that being, I don't know, 7 years ago or something. And now I embrace the different beautiful goddesses that are out there that are in other cultures, but were not in the culture that I was raised in. And there are so many beautiful stories of women from other cultures that I was just not privy to. I didn't know about because I lived in what I'll call the Catholic box. Now, everyone obviously has their own experience, but you probably have your own box of what you have learned about female role models and how they can help you in your life. And I remember doing an activity looking at a bunch of famous women and looking at each of them and saying, okay, what do these women stand for? Like, when I think about feminine women in the industry, I think of Audrey Hepburn, Marilyn Monroe, Cleopatra, Ginger Rogers, Jane Mansfield. Like, these are women that when you look at them, they embody femininity. that we haven't really been taught what that means. And I would encourage you to think about, in today's day and age, are there other women for you that represent femininity? And really being able to embrace being a woman. It is that stepping into loving the body, embracing that feminine energy, and then utilizing it in your daily life, as opposed to, I like to use the phrase, the women who are very strong, powerful, fierce, independent women. I am woman, hear me roar. There are many women out there, and God bless them for the wonderful, amazing things that they are doing in their lives. And at the same time, if you want to embrace your feminine nature, it is not that I am woman, hear me roar mentality. It is embracing the soft, sweet, gentle, feminine energy combined with the powerful energy, right? But it is a combination of both. And I think that we have not been taught how to embrace that energy. We don't have a lot of role models in our day-to-day lives, right? Who we have experience with. Like, some of the women I mentioned before, we could go and read up on each one of those women. And you may have others. You may have another woman who is the epitome of femininity to you. And if you have that, I'd love to hear who that is. And when I went on this retreat that started this journey like 9 years ago, I remember this woman, and she was just the epitome of what I thought a beautiful woman was. And I remember being, what's the word I'm looking for? I was scared and revering at the same time. And part of the reason for that is because she actually performed a healing dance for us. And in part of her healing dance, there were components of her where she fully allowed herself to just be raw and vulnerable and real. And I remember being in her presence and saying, wow, I want to be that. I don't know how. I don't know anyone who has that kind of raw, fierce, loving, vulnerable, sensual, connected energy. But now that I've seen it with my own eyes, I want it. And I can feel it. And I think that one of the challenges that we have in our world today is we've never experienced the feeling of being in the presence of a truly feminine woman. So I would encourage you, if you have never really experienced that, allow yourself to be open to attending a women's circle, to learning more about femininity and sensuality and owning your sexual power, so that you can be in the presence of women who have experienced that work. What I will tell you is you will feel it. You will know it. We all have strong intuition. and energetic connections. And you know when you have a connection with someone. And my wish for all of you is that you find at least that one person, whether it's me, whether it is someone else, whether it's a famous person, another local woman who is embodied in her feminine energy. I wish that you allow yourself to feel what that feels like, and then open up the doors to exploring what embracing that sensual feminine energy can do, not just for you, but for your relationships, your personal relationships, your business relationships, and how you show up in your life. Thank you so much for listening to the Sensual Feminine Life podcast. I'm your host, Jen Bagaisky. If you have enjoyed what you heard today, be sure to hit the follow button so you don't miss future episodes. And leave a review to help reach other passionate women like you. Know they are not alone in this journey to experiencing thriving relationships, exquisite pleasure, and sexy confidence. If you have felt a calling to take this work to a deeper level, this is your sacred invitation to join my free Facebook group, Essential Feminine Life, or schedule a heart-to-heart with me to learn more about how you can take this work to the next level and say yes to your pleasure and your desire.